that's waiting on a limbo to see if they want to take their own careers and their own decisions in their hand and make the fights like Tank is doing, is really managing the traffic that's going to start to trigger in other fighters. Bud Crawford, them guys going to start it. That fight didn't happen with him and Spence. Yo, what they're going to do, when they see the door open, them young fighters, they're going to sit back and say, "Oh," they're going to say, no, wait, they need us, don't go nowhere. That was good 3 or 4, 5 years ago when they was getting 12-round money for 4-rounders. Al Haymon can't pay him that no more. That been stopped. And they all scattering now. They all come in. Hey, can you let me in? And you got to remember, every time you still fight, if that contract is still live by the date it expired, you got to get that man 25% of your money. They starting to realize now, I got to give Al my money. Yes, he's not a promoter. He's an advisor. He got around the Muhammad Ali Act that I stood up for that made that law. Look at the memoirs on Google it, and you'll see Bernard Hopkins talked at this in adherence. So now y'all got Duke because he's under the advisor, which the Ali Act doesn't cover. But now you over here with Aram, you over here with us, you over here with that. And they're like, oh, everybody's working together. No.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So what you just heard was the voice of retired, legendary, multi-division world champion, former undisputed middleweight reigning world champion, superstar boxer, the alien, B-Hop, Bernard Hopkins. Okay? Bernard Hopkins, he didn't hold back on why the most highly anticipated, undisputed welterweight showdown of this era is not taking place between undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Crawford is 39 wins, no loss and no draw, 30 big wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach, an undefeated unified WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, ERROL the True Spence Jr., who is widely considered by many to be top 2, if not #1, definitely top 5 pound-for-pound best fighters in the world, with a record of 28 wins, no loss and no draw, 22 big wins by way of knockout, 32 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. So what you heard was Bernard Hopkins going in on the PBC, Premier Boxing Champion, founder and advisor Al Haymon, and saying that Al Haymon's money has dried up. The well has run dry. And now the well has run dry, right? These fighters can't get paid like they used to and get overpaid, right? And I have to disagree with that because I don't think there's a such thing as a fighter being overpaid. Every time these fighters step through those ropes, they risk their life for our entertainment. They get paid handsomely, but it's not enough because they never know when you step through those ropes, you're going to step out the same way you step through them. Okay. So I don't think that there's a such thing as overpaying any fighter in the sport of boxing. Okay. Every paycheck that they receive is underpaid. I don't care if it's $100 million because you putting something on the line that's priceless, that can't be replaced, and that's your physical being. So I think that, to say that they're overpaid is a bad statement because there's no fighter that's overpaid, period. With that said, he goes in and he says that the well has run dry. Okay, he stated that one thing was interesting that he stated that Al Haymon has got around the Muhammad Ali Act because he represents as an advisor. Okay, he identifies as an advisor, not a promoter. And so he said that these fighters have to pay 25 to 25 to 35% of their paycheck, whether they're with him or without him. Okay, whether they fight on the PBC or without the PBC, because their contract, he's still an advisor to them. He acts as an advisor, so they have to pay 25 to 35% of their purses. That's very telling. Now, I don't know that to be true or not to be true. Bernard Hopkins would be educated on the situation to be able to speak on it. Bernard Hopkins is somebody who represented himself. So nobody can say that Bernard Hopkins don't understand the business of the sport of boxing, because you have promoters that were on record, like the legend Don King, who stated that he couldn't stand negotiating fights with Bernard Hopkins because Bernard Hopkins knew every nick and cranny of the contract. Bernard Hopkins knew every T that was crossed and every I that was dotted. He stated that it was very difficult to deal with negotiations with Bernard Hopkins because he was so educated on the business side of the sport of boxing, and that's what promoters, managers, and advisors are not used to. These fighters taking the reins into their own hands and being educated on that side. They take their word for it. They act as if they are the employee, when in fact the fighters are the employers. Okay, so if he's saying that the PBC has ran out of money, I don't know if that to be true. Okay, I do know that this past year in 2022, none of these fighters fought multiple times except on the lower level. None of the fighters at the highest level fought multiple times. Okay, Jamel Charlo fought once, Gervonta Tank Davis fought once, Errol Spence fought once, Keith Thurman fought once, Danny Garcia fought once. Guys are just not fighting multiple times. The reason for that, I believe it had something to do with the networks. Fox didn't seem like they were too invested in the PBC this year, and Showtime, it seems like their funds, according to what you read about Showtime and their mother platform, right? Showtime is having issues, okay? And so you can look that up. That Showtime is having issues outside the sport of boxing, just overall, okay, with their network, and that they're willing to start doing some cutbacks, okay. So I believe that played a part as well, okay. So it's very, very interesting. But there's a lot of big fights that's supposedly scheduled this year, okay. So we're gonna see if that to be true. But according to Bernard, it's over. Okay, the well has run dry, as he stated, and he said a lot of fighters are knocking down their door. Now, I don't believe that to be the truth either. Okay, I don't think, especially African American fighters, have much interest of fighting with Golden Boy, because many fighters deem Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions to not be able to manage and help direct the careers of African American fighters. They're better suited to handle the Mexican fighters. Okay, this is not my words. This is a lot of the fighters' words, the African American fighters. They just don't feel like they're equipped or they're interested in putting a much stock into the African American fighters. They're more interested in putting stock to the Mexican fighters. Okay, they cater to the Mexican fighters. Okay, many African American fighters feel that way. So I don't know how true it is that fighters are just banging down Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, and Golden Boy's door to get away from the PBC. To get opportunities. Now I can see them looking to go with, possibly Top Rank, or even the Zone, or even BOK Prime. Okay. And I know for sure, for a fact, that a lot of fighters are knocking down the door of BOK Prime. That's a fact. Okay. With that said, why they want to maneuver, I'm not sure if it's due to lack of finances, so much of it being just not room and no schedules. And I guess those two coincide. I do feel like that when you look at the situation with Showtime and with Fox, I just feel like the funds were retracted, and they're not interested in investing in the sport of boxing, which is not a mainstream sport anymore in America. Okay, it's not a focal point. It's not one of the top 6 focal point major sports in America. Okay, it's a hobby sport. Okay, when you don't have nothing to do on a Saturday, and you have 2 big names that you can identify with, fans want to go and attend a boxing match. Why not take their child to a boxing match? Okay, but it's not something that many people circle on their calendar, because there's no fights to circle on the calendar, and that's what hurts the sport of boxing. When you look at the NFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, NCAA football and basketball, you can circle dates and games before the season even starts. The NFL season hasn't even ended yet, and we know the schedule for next year. Okay, so you can circle those dates. You can't do that for the sport of boxing. It's the unknown. So Bernard Hopkins, once again, he absolutely goes in and he says that they lost the money. Let's listen to what Bernard Hopkins had to say. This is not my words. This is Bernard Hopkins' words, but you'll hear people say that this was the words of Blue Blood Sports TV.
The other super fights that's waiting on a limbo to see if they want to take their own careers and their own decisions in their hand and make the fights like Tank is doing, is really managing the traffic that's going to start the trigger in other fighters. Bud Crawford, them guys going to start it. That fight didn't happen with him and Spence. Yo, what they're going to do when they see the door open, them young fighters, they're going to sit back and say, "Hold." They're going to say, no, wait, they need us, don't go nowhere. That was good 3 or 4, 5 years ago when they was getting 12-round money for 4-rounders. Haymon can't pay them that no more. That been stopped. And they all scattering now. Shoot, whop, they all come in. Hey, can you let me in? And you got to remember, every time you still fight, if that contract is still live by the date it expired, you got to get that man 25% of your money. They starting to realize now, I got to give Al my money. Yes, he's not a promoter. He's an advisor. He got around the Muhammad Ali Act that I stood up for that made that law. Look at the memoirs on Google it, and you'll see Bernard Hopkins talked at this in the hearings. So now y'all got Duke because he's under the advisor, which the Ali Act doesn't cover. But now you over here with Aram, you over here with us, you over here with that.
So you heard it there yourself. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Does he have a point? Do you agree? That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV. All one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Roll. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.